Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be making just like a short kind of guide as to how to basically break boards and go second with this deck. I'm not gonna make a full guide because I've already made one before. So if you are new to Enneacraft and you want to learn the deck, I'm gonna put like in the description the two videos that I have. One of them being how to beat meta decks, and then the other one being how to actually play the deck. Now in Master Duel there are some slight differences, obviously. So it's a best of one format. We have access to Max C. The ban list is obviously different. But aside from this, like I think generally if you want to learn the deck, it's still gonna be the same. The only thing that's gonna change in Master Duel is basically your deck building. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So first of all, for Master Duel, if you guys haven't played this deck yet, or tested it, I just want to like quickly run through like why I'm playing like these cards in the deck, and like this version of the deck, because there's a lot of ways you can play the deck. From my experience, okay, I've been playing this deck since like the pre-release, so that's I don't even know like how long ago that was. That was so long ago. I think like at the start of the year or something. So maybe like 6 months ago. And I was playing it all the way until like we got the supports, because I was like there when we got destroyed by Dracotail. I was one of the people who like kind of dropped the deck for a bit because like just Dracotail destroys us, and then we got this card, and then I started like playing again and just destroying everyone with this. And then Chaos came out, and I like switched to Chaos. I do think it is possible that we might get Chaos within the next like 2 or 3 months in Master Duel. It's possible, but I wouldn't say it's likely, if that makes sense. This is very important for in the context of Enneacraft, because if Chaos comes out, it's gonna be probably best deck, or at least like top two, maybe with Kewl Tune if it's not hit. And Chaos absolutely shreds this deck to pieces. Like, if Chaos is around, I shit you not, guys, this deck is unplayable. It's that bad. And I'm saying this as both a Enneacraft and a Chaos player. Chaos has every counter you can think of against Enneacraft. The main thing about Enneacraft is they lose to battle phase. They lose to unaffected monsters like Lunalight Liger, and Droll and Lockbird. These are like the main three cards that you are usually losing to. And Chaos has all three. Actually, Chaos summons unaffected monsters on turn 0. So you gotta just like think about that for a second. Unaffected monsters super hard to summon. You usually have to stop them from summoning them with this deck. Chaos summons them on turn 0 for free. And they have Luster Soldier, which attacks over 2 of your monsters and gains 15, so he's like 4,500. And the Black Luster Soldier, also unaffected, banishes face down. We can target with Chaos without having to worry about Pixia, because they're all unaffected. So if you flip up Pixia, it actually does nothing. It still banishes the card. And then you can just attack over this one, or if you could just target the Pixia, just call it correctly. You just like destroy the deck completely. There's just no way that you can beat the deck. The Archfiend can also shuffle back your Rebirth from the graveyard, and like basically everything. They can go like Swordsman, summon, first action, you can't respond or like interact with it at all. Banish 2 cards, GG. This is the interaction with Chaos. I just have to get that out there, just in case like the Chaos deck does come out. But in the context of the actual deck and how it's performing in the meta at the moment, I think this deck is actually like top 3 at the moment. It's actually so powerful, mainly because the best decks are branded, Kewl Tune, and Dracotail. And this deck beats all 3. It's actually insanely good into especially branded Dracotail and Kewl Tune. And also Brand is just like a free win. I don't think like Branded even like really stands a chance unless you misplay. The only reason you lose is from misplays. I actually was watching Decade Meta Weekly, and I saw a lot of people misplay. They made it even to top 4, and they were making some really, really bad misplays. So it wasn't the deck that lost, it was mainly the player. If they had sequenced correctly, played correctly, they 1,000,000% should have won. It was like an unlosable duel, basically, for Enneacraft. But because you play incorrectly, the misplays make a huge difference, guys. I can point out like just one little misplay that costs you the entire duel. And that is not grabbing release and grabbing one of the small monsters and actually forgetting to get the release for the follow-up. Not having this follow-up to be able to actually get like a Pixia back loses you the duel. That is entirely possible. It happens a lot. Actually, it's happened to me as well, by accident. This happens a lot. So you basically need to sequence correctly. You need to play properly. Breaking boards is entirely possible with just pure engine. You don't actually need non-engine except against certain matchups. And the main things you want to do is just like sequence your plays properly. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is Branded Dracotail. I don't actually have like a good saved replay against them where I can properly show you guys like the interactions. But I do have against like Branded, Kewl Tune, and so on. We'll like go over these as well, and like some other decks. So I'll talk about Branded Dracotail first because that's like the most important one. Why? Because Branded Dracotail is one of these decks where if a good pilot is playing the deck, they can actually play through your stuff if you don't know your deck and you don't know their deck and how they play. So in top 4, someone lost to Branded Dracotail because they did not know what cards to end on. Okay. Also, congrats for them to actually making it to top 4. I think there were 2 people who made it to top 4. Very, very well done. I think someone also topped in like the Challenger Cup recently. I think top 4 as well. I don't remember, but yeah. So this card right here is what you need, okay? This has to be part of your end board. The disgusting stuff with like Murakumo, Dracotail, and like the stuff where they can chain link block your stuff, this prevents them from doing that. This card right here, you need this as a part of your end board, and you need Atl as part of your end board. I don't care what else you have. As long as you have Tromeria and Atl, you should be okay. Why? Because Dracotail has to activate something to fuse, okay? Let's say they go Malulu to fuse. Let's say they go Rahu Dragontail to fuse. Let's say they go Kewl Tune Dragontail to fuse. They all trigger the Tromeria, okay? Assuming they don't have droplets, obviously. You trigger the Tromeria in response to them activating Kewl Tune Dragontail, as an example. Or let's say Rahu, actually, because I want to talk about Kewl Tune in a different context in a second. Let's say they activate Rahu Dragontail, okay? So let me just pull it up, just in case someone doesn't know what Dracotail does. It's going to basically fusion summon by using the monster from their hand and one from their deck, and they're going to send them. And then what they're going to summon is Altharion, which is this card right here. And this card can target cards either on the field or either grave, and then spin them back to the hand. Usually they target their own cards. Then they can chain link block the Altharion with the cards that they send. So they can send Malulu to negate your monsters. They usually send Pan to actually pop your monsters. They can send Urgula to pop your back row, and it's all chain link blocked. So it's like like chain link 1, chain link 2, chain link 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is why Atl destroys them, because it negates the entire chain. If anything goes over chain link 3, it's going to negate them. So how do they play around that? They go Altharion, chain link 1, chain link 2, Pan, and not activate anything else. Pan pops one of your monsters. They go Altharion, attack over the other one. And then they can possibly out your Atl if they get lucky off of this. And then they also get to set like Kewl Tune Dragontail, and then they can continue making the same play again with the Gulumel. Okay. This is very bad for you because you are not going to be able to trigger your Atl. You're not going to be able to actually trigger most of your cards. I guess Trito, you can if you have that, but most people actually don't really play Trito. I only play 1 copy for a reason. And I don't really care about playing more copies for Dragontail because Dragontail is not a threat to this deck if you know how to play it properly. So how do we prevent them from playing around your cards? You go Tromeria. Tromeria forces them to play into Atl because this is always going to be chain link 1. So you go Tromeria in response to Rahu Dragontail, okay? On a new chain, after you get to add whatever, this is going to be on new chain, chain link 1, and then they are going to go Altharion, chain link 2. They have 2 options here. They can stop on Altharion targeting, and that means if they target, Pixia destroys them. They have to target your cards, right? Pixia is going to absolutely destroy them, and they're going to lose a card from the hand, and they just probably lose here. If they want to obviously chain link block the Altharion, they will go like Pan, Urgula, whatever. Now they have went into chain link 3, so now they play into my Atl. So now Atl negates the entire chain. They don't get to add back. They probably use a lot of cards from the hand. If they want like Femina to make this play, or if they want like Kewl Tune Dragontail, this is gonna hurt them a lot, as opposed to like Rahu using only 1 monster from the hand. And 1 monster from the hand is actually not that great because there's a lot of cards on the board you want out. There's like Leon, Atl, I guess whatever else you end on. So they're probably gonna use more than 1 monster from the hand, most likely like 2 or 3. So it negates the entire chain. They can't get to add back. They can't do anything. They have to play into Atl or not play into it and not be able to out anything you have. So it's lose or lose, basically, situation. This is all because of Tormeria. And what you can do after, you're probably wondering, okay, well, let's say that like they make that play and then they get to actually like just activate one in the grave, not even use the Altharian. They get to set key to Dragontail and then activate key 2. How do you play around that? The thing is, like the reset actually flips the Tromeria and the Atl back, assuming you have 2 pendulum scales, which is what I usually like to end on. I want that to be ready for something like Dracotail. I don't want to push something into my back row because their first play could always be like Rahu Dragontail, right? To like immediately make that play. And if I don't have any pen zones, anything in the pen zones, although I can make this play, I actually can't flip them back face down because I'm gonna have to push one of them into the back row, and they can just like not trigger anything else, right? So you flip these back face down, and now they're ready for Key to Dragontail. Another thing for Key 2 is you can actually use the Alazonia to make the same play. Why? Because Alazonia is going to trigger on the opponent adding a card. Key 2 adds a card to the hand and then fuses. So you can either activate the Tromeria or the Alazonia if you have that. And then you're going to be able to make the same play. You're going to force them into Chainlink 3 for Atl to negate everything again. Another thing is, even if Atl, you're not able to like flip down Atl because you only have one card in your pen zone, this has a continuous floodgate effect where it says, where is it? It is right here. After this card was flipped face up, while it is in the monster zone, your opponent cannot activate cards or effect in response to their own activations. What that means is if they go Key to Dragontail, they can only activate one effect still. The only like difference is this is not going to negate the chain, but they can still only activate one. So either they activate the card they fused with in the graveyard, only one card, or they activate the Altharian on the field if they didn't use it, or like something else. If they go Golemel, they actually cannot use the Golemel because you have to trigger one of your Dracotail cards, and then you can't chain to your own card, right? So the Atl just completely destroys them. And if you guys wondering like why are these like super countering like Dracotail, because this deck hard lost to Dracotail initially, and then they made like targeted supports just for Dracotail, which is why Trito works the way it does and why Atl works the way it does. And then at the same time, like they also work to like stop some other cards as well. If you read Trito, it's like literally just made for Dracotail. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that sets a card, quote unquote, all of these when they're used as material because they're gonna set a spell or trap that mentioned like as a Dracotail spell or trap. So if the opponent activates any of these from the graveyard, you activate Trito. Trito is gonna pop their back row. And then it can also, well, first of all, it's going to add, okay? Then it's going to pop their back row. And then it's going to be able to summon one of your cards from the hand, which can be the card that you actually added with this effect. Right? Where is it? This effect. Does that make sense? So you basically trigger the Trito, you add whatever you want. Let's say Atl, another one. Or like Tail, because Tail is the one-off. So it's harder to search. You can just like immediately search this. And then you immediately pop a card that they control that they just set, and then summon the Tail. Make sense? So these two cards are very powerful against Dracotail, especially Atl. You don't actually need the Trito, although it can be very good. So if you can get Trito, I would recommend that you do. But Tromeria, Atl. Anything else is just whatever. But these two must be on your field. Some other good cards is Pixia, because they will not be able to target their stuff with this. It's also going to turn off Fallen Virtuous. Leon is also good, because if they chain like anything to your cards, you can just flip, like spin everything back. It's good against Albaz, because this also triggers against Albaz. So you activate this, it's gonna negate the Ecclesia when it's summoned, because they're gonna use Albaz from the hand to special, and then you trigger this. Albaz summons, it summons Ecclesia, and then on that new chain, Ecclesia is immediately gonna be negated. And if they chain anything, you just go like Leon, spin everything back, or you go like Atl as well. So there's a lot of ways you can actually counter them. Now, as for actually going second against them. Going second, also I should mention, there are some auto wins against Dracotail and Branded and Kewl Tune as well. And that's Shifter and Fisher. These are not just cards that are, floodgates for no reason. Like, it's not that I choose to play these as floodgates to, like, make my opponent, like, just not have any fun. These are actually played to stop the opponent from floodgating us. Joel and Lockbird is one of these cards that just can floodgate you if you don't play it properly, or sometimes like you don't actually have a hand that can beat Joel and Lockbird. So this is where Fisher comes in. because Fissure stops them from using Droll. It stops them from using Ogre on your field spell. Mainly because Tail is we play Tail at 1. Tail is not really a great card. It sucks. And then you can also stop things like Valor, Fallen, and the Virtuous, which is one of the most like highly played cards at the moment. And it's gonna stop Droplet. Droplet, big emphasis on Droplet. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why does it stop Droplet? This only stops monsters, so can't they send spells and traps as well to the graveyard to negate with Droplet? Yes, exactly, that's the point. So if they send spells and traps, you go Attil, negate the Droplet. Make sense? And then they're gonna have to send cards, obviously. They're gonna have to send their spells and traps, which they can't really afford to do most of the time. So they're gonna lose a lot of cards here. They're gonna lose, like, 1 or 2 cards just to negate, like, the Attil plus... let's say like the Pixia that you triggered, or like the Leon, which is spinning their stuff back, and then you just chain the Attil and just negate everything. So this Fissure makes it so that you can't get Dropleted, you can't get Joel and Lockbirded, you can't get Ogred, you can't get Fallen the Virtuous, you can't do any of that, and also at the same time completely floodgates all these decks because they can't trigger in the graveyard. Dracotail cards cannot trigger, Kewl Tune cards cannot trigger in the grave. Branded is the one that is affected the least out of them, but it's affected really hard. So these 3 decks are just gonna have a horrible time under Fissure, and Shifter free win. Make sense? This is why I don't play Fallen Virtuous. I think Fallen Virtuous is good, but I think at the moment, Fissure is way better. When we get Harmonia, I think Harmonia plus Fallen Virtuous is also going to be very decent. Depending on the meta, you can actually switch to those instead of Fissure. But at the moment, like, this feels like a Enneacraft card, so you should be playing this. It's also cheap. It's just an R, right? It's a rare card. You don't have to like spend anything like Fallen the Virtuous, which is a UR. So it's budget and it's better than Fallen the Virtuous. So I don't see why you should be playing Fallen the Virtuous. And Shifter it's very good, but if you don't have like the UR to like craft this, it's completely fine. You can cut this and play 4T. That's completely acceptable. Also, I did see someone talk about like, how do I build a cheap version of the deck? The deck is already very cheap. You only need like 9 URs. You can make it 10 if you want to play Shifter. So the 9 URs you need is like 3 Alizonia, you need 3 Mar, and then 3 Release. Okay? And anything else is just optional. You actually don't need an extra deck whatsoever. Literally nothing in here is actually needed. And then aside from this, there's no other URs, except Maxi, which you probably do have already. And then Shifter is optional. If you don't have enough still, there are some not tech options, there's some stuff you can actually cut, which is still acceptable. I wouldn't say it's optimal, but it's acceptable. And that's cut Release to 2, cut Mar to 2. And then what you can do is, if you don't have Alizonia, you can actually cut 2 Alizonia and then play 2 Trito. This is a very good card. If you can, I would recommend playing 3 of this, but if you can't, cut these 2 and just play 2 Trito, and that's also acceptable because you're basically replacing 2 starters with 2 starters. And that's gonna cut down like how many URs, like 2, 3, like 4 URs, and then that leaves you with just you guys do the math. You need 10 URs, cut 1, 9, like maybe you need like 5 URs now, which is reasonable for a cheap deck. And yeah, so now the thing about Dracotail going second. So let's say you don't have the luxury to have Fissure. Let's say you don't have Shifter. Let's say you don't have Maxi. You don't have these like auto win cards. How do you beat Dracotail going second? They have a huge board, right? Again, Attil. Huge emphasis on Attil. Tromeria. You can also use Orgia. You can also use Okinaria. And you can also use the Trito. These cards are all of these cards are going to be good. So what am I talking about? You go first action, set these cards, okay? Set these cards, normal set. Don't special summon them, normal set them, okay? Because you don't want to give your opponent a chance to actually use Ecclesia Synchro, which is only used in the main phase, which means you have to activate something for them to be able to trigger it. So let's say first action, I go set Tromeria. Opponent goes Ecclesia Synchro. I flip this face up, and then I get to search whatever I want for free. And then whatever he summons gets negated by the Tromeria, which is going to prompt him to actually pop the card or negate it or do something to this. Ash it, whatever, right? Because you're getting so much value off of this. You're negating one of his cards, and then at the same time, you're also adding whatever you want. So let's say your opponent does not respond, okay, to you setting this. I will set Leon, I will set Attil, I will set Pixia. These are all good cards. The only thing that's not good is Tail. And then obviously Mar is going to be amazing on your turn as well. So if you have, let's say, Mar, Atl, Alazonia, Tromeria, and then maybe like a field spell. Winnable. 100% winnable against a full Dracotail board. Set this. You want to activate your weakest monster just in case they have something that can like destroy it. Against Branded, for example, they have Retribution. So if they have Retribution, use the weakest card in your hand to special summon your other monsters. Usually what's going to happen, they're going to activate Retribution on the first card you activate. Okay? So let's say I have these three. Okay? These three. I use Trito first because Trito is going to be the weakest one out of these three. For example, they pop it, I activate this, special summon my monsters. I'm good. Because they can't negate or pop anything from my hand again. Because it's usually only the Retribution that can do that. Against Dracotail, set this, and then you want to set Pixia if possible. If not possible, that's also fine. Pixia is mainly for Fallen the Virtuous. They don't really play anything else that's going to be like relevant. And if you have Fissure, you 100% need Pixia. Because what you do is you summon Pixia, and then you activate Fissure. They're going to go Fallen the Virtuous on this, flip up Pixia, GG. Unless they have droplets, okay? Yes. And then the other thing is Atl. So you trigger your Tromeria, okay? Tromeria is going to be Chainlink 1 here. Actually, sorry. They're going to activate something in response. You trigger your Tromeria. That's going to be Chainlink 2. And then they're going to interact with this, negate it. They're going to Ash it, Imperm, Fallen Virtuous, whatever. Chain Atl, negate the entire chain, okay? And then you can spin this back with a field spell. You can also, if you have the reset, if you use it early, sometimes you want to do that. You can actually use the reset to like flip these face down as long as you have like at least one pendulum in your scales. But usually what's going to happen is you're going to set these. They're not going to respond whatsoever. They're not going to do anything. So you set this, set Mar. That's enough. Just 3 monsters is usually enough. Orgia is also very powerful because it can be used against Femina, mainly Ash Blossom. You also want to think about Droll and Lockbird and Ash while you're breaking their board. I know it seems like a lot, but this is one of these decks that can actually play through their hand traps and break their board at the same time, right? So the combination that would be good is Tromeria plus Leon plus Mar or Atl, and then Orgia plus Leon, Atl. You can also use Mar, Atl plus any one of these two. Mainly, but anything that can like trigger to add, basically. So if your opponent is playing a deck that is going to trigger in the graveyard, most likely, we go Okinaria. Makes sense? So let's say opponent is on tier limits. I set Okinaria. I know opponent is going to trigger something in the grave, like trigger their Scream when I set this. Scream is going to mill. They're going to trigger something in grave. I flip this face up. I add a card, and then shuffle back their stuff so they can't fuse. Okay, that's an example. Against Dracotail, they're going to trigger their stuff, where you trigger the Tromeria, and do the same thing. And the thing about this being Chainlink 1 and this being Chainlink 1 is they're always going to have to play into Leon. So Leon is a huge board breaker. This guy is disgusting. Because Chainlink 1, they respond, you go Leon, spin back their back row. So spin back like the Flame, spin back Sting, spin back the Fallen the Virtuous. There's an even disgusting play that you can make if you have 3 monsters. So this plus Leon plus, let's say, Pixia, or Atl, or Mar. You go for the same play. Instead of triggering the Leon in response, let's say they go Fallen the Virtuous, okay? On like your Pendulum scale. Because you activated the Pendulum scale after summoning all of these. This is an interaction that happens so much. They usually wait for your Pendulum scale. So what you do here is you actually trigger the Pixia in response. They're gonna chain something again, so it's gonna be Chainlink 1, you activate your Pendulum scale. Chainlink 2, they activate Fallen Virtuous. Chainlink 3, you activate Pixia. Chainlink 4, they are gonna activate something in response, like maybe, I don't know, like let's say maybe Femina or Fallen, and not Fallen Virtuous, the Ecclesia Synchro, just like literally anything. Sting, you chain Leon to that, okay? Leon is going to spin everything back that they control. You can also spin back your own cards if they're threatening to negate them. So let's say he goes Droplet, send a spell instead of a monster. Leon, spin back the Pixia so you still get your banish, and then you can also spin back their own cards. That is like a huge interaction that you can do. And obviously Atl, it works exactly like Leon, except it's better because it's going to negate the entire chain. Yeah. Fissure is one of these cards that are going to be huge going second, because you can make that play, the exact same play that I just said, without having to use your pendulums, because they're always gonna have to get rid of the Fissure with the Fallen Virtuous. So it's basically like pendulums, except you still have like these in hand for pushes, and you're baiting them out with the Fissure. Fissure completely turns off their deck. If they let this resolve, they lose. Straight up. They can't activate Fallen Virtuous anymore. No droplets, nothing. So once again, they are not going to be able to actually break your board once like you start actually establishing your stuff, and you have like a good hand with these. And this is why we maximize on Engine, because I want to see Athel in my hand. I want to see Mar in my hand. I want to see Leon. I want to see Pixia. Especially Pixia. Pixia is very powerful because it floodgates a lot of decks in the meta at the moment. And everyone is on Fallen Virtuous. So this is going to be huge, right? And then some other extra deck stuff you can play, which might come up, is like Typhon, Werewolf, and SP. I think everything else is super optional. I don't think they actually come up. In one duel against Sky Striker, I was super grinding because I made a misplay. And the misplay made the duel go on for very long. So I was actually put in a situation where they had a 0, which was 3000 attack, and I only had a Orgia plus a Pixia in my hand. If I go Pixia, he wins on the following duel because my LP was really low. He can just attack. And if I go Orgia, same thing happens. So what I did is I actually normal summoned Orgia, went Typhon, spun him back, attacked for game. And that's basically like, I guess, sometimes where like this can come up. It not really, like, it almost never comes up, but this is like a scenario. Which is why if you have the UR for this, or you already have this card, just play that in your side deck. In your Ursa deck. And then other thing is like Werewolf can come up sometimes if you're like floodgated or whatever. Or like you have monsters on the field that cannot be like spun back. You have no field spell, they're already flipped face up. You can go Werewolf, and the Werewolf can attack multiple times, and this can also just lethal your opponents. But yeah. And then SP, rare. I don't think this has ever come up, to be honest, but like this is one of these cards that could come up, technically. And then the other thing is, I need you guys to understand, release is so important. You have to always establish release, okay? So when you go first, the first thing you want to do is get a search and make sure it's release. If you have a field spell, if you don't have a field spell, get the field spell, because if you get Jolt without the field spell, you're fucked. So get the reset for the field spell, and then you don't get Jolt, activate something else, and then you can still get the release. Go field spell, spin them back, activate release, get the follow-up. This card, if you already have the field spell, you always grab release because it plays around Joel, okay? I never see anyone do that, or even talk about this play at all. And I feel like people just don't know this at all. And they think the deck actually loses to Joel. Joel is bad sometimes, yes, but it doesn't lose to Joel. Joel can be worse if you're going second and they Joel you, because you cannot make the plays I'm talking about against like Dracotail, where I can just set Tromeria and then activate it, because under Joel, these actually cannot trigger. None of these can trigger to add at all, so you're never actually going to be able to flip them face up to trigger any of their effects. So they're completely floodgated, right? So release, what it's going to do is, if you get Joeled after you add release, and you already have the field spell, you go release, search whatever Enneacraft you want, put it in the pen zone, you go for the Enneapolis, and you spin it back to your hand. Let's say I need Pixia, because I know in this matchup, Pixia is going to be very good. Put Pixia with the release, field spell, spin it back, summon Pixia, and my turn. Because I already, let's say, I don't know. I mean, I probably don't have Fissure if I got Jolt, but that's just an example. Like, Pixia can just automatically win you some duels, which is ridiculous, right? So this is Dracotail. Dracotail sucks against this deck. It's actually just so bad. Speaking of Dracotail, like, you can see Lucaeus over here. So you guys should not be losing to Dracotail unless like something really unfortunate happens. Kewl Tune, okay? Let's actually take a look at Kewl Tune. Kewl Tune is also an easy matchup. You shouldn't really be losing to Kewl Tune. And once again, if you want to see actual replays, watch my previous videos. I have showed a lot of like going second replays. Actually, I usually lose the coin flip every single time. So this is a lucky time where I actually go first. Look at this. I set the Alazonia. Why? Why the fuck would I do that? Because if the opponent has Max C, this is going to trigger in response to Max C. So let's actually read this real quick. When your opponent activates a card effect that includes an effect that adds a card, Max C adds a card, Parolia adds a card, Fua adds a card. So this is going to be able to trigger to add whatever I want if he goes Maxi. Maxi, you always play into Maxi. If they have it, you give them 5 draws, or 4 draws, I guess. You set one monster and then summon the other 4. I don't think in most duels, like when they Maxi you, you actually just don't lose. You still win. It doesn't really matter because the one, don't know your deck. Second of all, like your deck, if you play it correctly, you're still going to be able to win. And then the Fissure is going to be disgusting as well because if you have access to this, you activate Fissure, they have to chain Maxi. So what I did in this scenario right here, as you guys can see, I actually set Alazonia first action. You don't special summon it. If you go special summon Alazonia, you activate this as special. They chain Maxi, and now you give them draws for no reason. You don't trigger your Alazonia, and it's just horrible. Always go set Alazonia. Otherwise, you set Orgia, okay? Orgia, Alazonia for hand traps. Mainly Orgia, because Orgia plays around Joel. It plays around Maxi, and basically any hand trap in the game that activates from the hand. That is a monster, not a trap card, like Imperm or whatever. This activates only against Fua Maxi, usually, okay? So you set this, and then you activate Fissure. Now he has to Maxi on the activation of Fissure, otherwise it's going to be turned off. So if he activates Maxi, I'm going to trigger this to add whatever I want, and then I can basically utilize the cards in my hand to basically play better under Joel, because I can go release, search whatever I want. I already have access to the field spell, and this is going to give me a free add for whatever I want. I basically get to choose whatever end board I want without having to search a million times or play into Maxi. And then I can just summon 3, which is the 3 I want. Could be like Orgia, Pixia, Atl, and then pass. And under Fissure, that is enough. So yeah, this is very important for you guys to understand. First of all, if we're going first. And now we can scale. When would you not make this play? If you only have one play, so you only have Tromeria plus Alazonia, you have no other starters that can like do anything, that would be bad, this play that I'm making right here, because if he has like a Purge on like your one play, you actually don't have anything else. Unless you actually have like other big monsters, which is good. Like if you think about it and you see that if this gets purged, you can still end on a decent board with the cards you have in hand, you can risk this, okay? So yeah. We completely play around everything here. Even if he didn't have it, this is the correct thing to do. Look at this. I grab Release, okay? Release puts the Orgia because it's going to be able to search whatever I want. The cards you put in your Pendulum Zone before you go Field Spell are the ones that are going to be on your field, okay? Most of the time, at least. So, on my field, I'm going to have Orgia and the Tromeria. I'm going to search Pixia here. Why? Because I already have another way to actually search, and I already have the field spell, so I can search whatever I want here. So I can go reset here, and then we are going to put the field spell. We spin these 2 back. We already used them, so we can summon them. We are going to scale the Okinaria, and then I think we're going to add reveal the Alazonia plus the Trito. And then Alazonia is going to add. We never actually use the effects. We can reveal one Rebirth. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, it doesn't matter. I want Atl anyway. Yep. I don't like gambling with the Rebirth, because Rebirth does not guarantee you an interruption. This does. You grab Atl, okay? But because my hand, I can actually afford to like gamble with the Rebirth a bit. It's completely fine for me. Fissure, by the way, does not lock you out of anything. It actually plays perfectly, because look at this. Release goes to the grave. Reset goes to the grave. The Rebirth goes to the grave. This only sends monsters. We don't ever care about monsters going to the grave or banished. Only extra deck, right? So Fissure is just a perfect card for our deck, literally in every possible way. Every weakness of this deck is covered by Fissure. So I don't see like how you would not want to play this card. Look at this board, okay? Is Dracotail gonna beat this? Impossible. It's actually impossible for Dracotail to beat this board, assuming like I play correctly. We have Tromeria, we have Orgia for Femina. If you go to Femina, you just trigger the Orgia, and then you make the same play. You force them into Atl. If they go Key to Dragotail, I just trigger this. If they go Albaz or whatever, Raku Dragotail, Branded Fusion, I trigger Tromeria and then force them into Atl. And then you can just go reset, flip 2 down, because we already have 2 pen scales established. And this would not matter at all because we have Fissure anyway, but this is assuming we don't have Fissure, okay? And then if he targets full, he goes like, I don't know, he can't activate Fallen Virtues, like what the fuck can he do here? Droplet gets negated by the Atl, I don't even know, like he actually can't do anything. How would he win this? He needs evenly matched. Let's see. So he is on Kewl Tune, not Dracotail. So he goes Rotary. Rotary triggers our Orgia. Now whatever he summons is gonna get popped. If he chains to this, I go Atl, negate the entire chain. Rotary gets popped, and the KTS gets popped here. He would not go KTS here. It's just incorrect, because you don't have a monster on the board. So now he goes Q. Look at this. Chainlink 1, he responds to me. So now I can go Leon if I have it. But instead, I'm going to go into Charmeria. Go ahead and activate something. He's too scared. You can see like he doesn't activate anything. Which means now I can pop him and then negate whatever he summons. Whatever he summons is actually not going to get negated. But it's going to force him into Atl. If he plays like any quick play spell or whatever in response. So yeah. I mean like he can't really do anything here. This is just like a quick duel. I can show you this one. I actually did show these in my previous replays, but because I'm actually teaching you guys how to play the deck properly, I'm going more in depth into the plays. So you guys can learn how to beat these meta decks, because I genuinely think like these meta decks are actually just not good enough into Enneacraft. Especially because we have a huge advantage that the opponent doesn't know what Enneacraft does. Most of them don't, right? Even Enneacraft players themselves don't actually know how to properly pilot the deck or like what the deck is doing. And like these certain lines, which is why I think like the deck is crazy. Until like people actually like properly learn how to play the deck and like how to counter it. And then I think the deck is going to be still good. It's just not like as powerful as it is at the moment. Mainly when I play Dracotail and I go up against Enneacraft, I usually win like 90% of my duels. Because I know like all the interactions. So he is gonna basically do everything here. He is also gonna look at the hand, and he actually took a very long time. Because the opponent doesn't, when they take a long time, what this tells you is that they don't know what your deck does. They're actually reading your cards. Which means you can 1,000,000% just absolutely destroy them, especially Kewl Tune. Because it doesn't matter if they look at your hand. Look at this, he's trying to stack my deck. There's nothing to stack, because all of these are engine. What are you gonna do? Give me tail? Okay, go ahead. Now I have protection, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this deck is huge into Kewl Tune. So he gives me the tail, which is fine. Look at this. Set Okinaria. Who in the world is doing this at the moment? I have never seen anyone like make these plays, and I don't know why. Like, this is how you play the deck. Set Okinaria. Why? Because if he triggers Remix here, he's gonna have to trigger in the grave to actually pop this, because he thinks it's a Mar, and he thinks he's playing around the Mar by making that play. Because if I chain to him like the Mar, he just negates it with the Zalin, and if I don't chain, then he goes to pop, and I can't actually trigger the Mar anymore, right? Because he's triggering in the graveyard. So he thinks he's like big brain playing me, but I actually big brain played him. I could have set anything else, like Orgia, for example, for a hand trap, but that would be incorrect, because there's a less chance that the first action he does is activate something from the hand, like Clip. The most likely scenario is once I normal set this over a special summon, he triggers Remix. Otherwise, if I had special summoned, he would have chained Remix to me special summoning, and then I actually don't get the effect of the Okinaria. Makes sense? So let's see what happens here. He is gonna summon, most likely goes into RS. Completely fine, because he would have to waste his RS on a Okinaria stat, which is really funny. So he's gonna trigger here to pop us, played into Okinaria. Good job. Now we get to add. Doesn't respond? GG. If you don't respond to this, GG, because now I get to add Atl, and Atl just wins the duel here. He goes Drone Lockbird. Okay, this is the scenarios where like he can actually like still beat me technically, because he has a thing that is an unknown factor within the duel, right? Which is Droll and Lockbird. I anticipated Droll and Lockbird. Why? Because anytime I play this deck, the only thing I think about is Droll and Lockbird. I actually don't really care about the field. I think most fields are just like bad into Enneacraft. Like Enneacraft just destroys everything. Only thing that can beat you is like an unexpected Ash and Droll and Lockbird. I added Atl here, not to break his board, but actually anticipating that he might have the Droll and Lockbird. And then if he doesn't, the Atl also works very well with the Orgia. So look at this. He draws us, okay? You like most people would say, okay, GG, move on, next game. Definitely not. Look at this. He goes Clip. Okay, fine. Notice I triggered Tail. Okay, why? Because Tail is the weakest one I have. I don't care about Tail. Because if he goes Zalin negate this, which is he's doing right now, he got rid of a card I did not need. I was actually going to scale the Tail, so I can go battle phase, pop pop this. So him making this is actually just perfect for me because it doesn't matter. Now I can summon the Orgia, summon the Alazonia, and then summon the Atl. And then we go release, scale a big monster, which is going to be Leon, and then scale the other one, go battle phase, pop this. What this means is he's not going to have this negates anymore. This is worse than RS, because RS is only going to negate, it's not going to pop. This is going to pop, so this is a real issue. And I also can't pop the RS because it's too big. This can only pop 3k or less. This play right here that I'm making, you have to like understand when you want to make these plays. You want to make these plays if they have something on the board that can swing over your monsters immediately before they do anything. Like he goes like battle phase, attack over Atl. Threatening, right? Yes, that is very threatening. If I out the Zalin right now, he loses A negates. B, he is only going to have one card to swing over 3, and he doesn't know which card is which. So he has to like randomly guess which one's Atl. If he swings over this, this actually pops him. If he swings over this, actually banish a card from his hand. He has no cards at the moment, which means the card in his hand is most likely going to be just banished, and he has no more plays, right? He has to go like the field spell, and then that is just completely fine at that point. He can't kill me because it's going to be main 2. And I have this, and I have already established the release for the follow-up, so whatever he pops, I can just add back on the next turn. And then how does he get rid of the scales? He has to go into like the plays where he goes into the mix, was it? That pops back row? No, it's the other one. The Rico. So you have to think about these plays. This play right here, you always want to make this play if there's something threatening on the field. So you can see I actually popped the Zalin here, and now he's on top deck. So he goes JJ Kewl Tune, completely fine. Now he triggers my Alazonia, get a free banish of a card in his hand. He goes Ash Blossom. Okay, trigger Orgia. Big mistake, because now you played into this. He has to negate the Orgia, because Orgia is going to pop his RS now. So he's going to chain to negates, and now you played into Atl. Negate the entire chain, GG. You have no more plays, pop the field spell, doesn't get to add, no more cards in hand, set, most likely, I don't even know to be honest, Called by the Grave, probably, because he did not use it. And then the RS gets negated and popped, bye-bye. You guys see how we basically destroyed Joel and Lockbird? This is exactly how you play against like decks going second. Think about the hand trap, not the board, okay? If you play around the hand trap, most of the time what you're adding off like like your first ad is going to be winning you the duel, because it doesn't matter if you break the board or not, because either way the duel is going to drag out. You're not going to OTK your opponent, most likely. Unless they go like super crazy and they start like triggering your effects back and forth and you gain hundreds of counters, which can happen sometimes, but it's really unlikely. So this is Kewl Tune. Kewl Tune sucks. They actually have one out, and that is Chaos Angel if they are able to make it. He does not even play Chaos Angel. Again, like there's only a few people who play Chaos Angel, and they can make it with Zalin plus a Q, Light and Dark, and then that makes everything unaffected, and that can be very bad, especially if you don't expect it. But you do have an out to it, and that would be the reset. Reset second effect. If you already have a field spell, you can actually negate the Chaos Angel. Okay, so let's see. What's another deck that I should showcase here? Exosister is actually a decent deck to show off, mainly because I think Exosister can actually have a decent matchup against you if you pilot incorrectly. So let's teach you guys how to pilot this deck against Exo. Once again, we're going second because we never win any coin flip. I think out of like, I don't know how many games I've played, like maybe 25 or something, 30. I've only won like, I don't even know, like I win 1 or 2 out of 10 coin flips. Like 2 out of 10 games, basically. It's really, really bad. You guys have seen also in my previous replays, like everything is going second. So we have no hand traps and no board breakers as usual. The only issue with not having board breakers and hand traps is, well, hand traps specifically, is if the opponent is playing an FTK deck, you lose. If the opponent is playing a deck that hand drops you, you lose. Because in one duel, someone went double level 9. I think it was Radiant Typhoon. They went into the Xyz 9 that banishes a card from your hand. I actually had a beautiful hand, and that was guaranteed win for me, 100%. But I only had one play, which was the Orgia, and the others were big monsters. It was literally like this hand. Look at this hand right now. I had access to the field spell with resets, and I had like 3 huge monsters that would win me the duel, and just the Orgia. He randomly banished the Orgia, and I lost because of this, because I didn't actually draw a play. So that is like one of these things that you can lose to. Okay, Carmel. So I actually looked at this. I think Carmel does not actually negate your pendulums, because pendulums are not considered normal spells and traps, is what people said. That is very good because it makes the deck even better for us. That means they can't negate your pendulums, and also the only thing they can negate is the monsters. So if you activate monsters from the hand or field, these are the only things they can stop. Aside from this, they can stop the release. They can't stop the field spell because field spell is not a normal spell or trap. So yeah, I guess Rebirth as well, but Rebirth sucks. The effect actually doesn't matter, it's only the effect in the grave that matters. So let's see what we do. He has Vadis, he has Britannia, he has a non-target banish, he has Carmel to change effect. He has one card in hand. What do you guys think this is? Duel and Lockbird, Ash Blossom. This is all I care about. I don't actually care about his board. This is a decent interruption, but it's not good enough. Okay, I'll show you why this is not good. This is the only issue at the moment because it could be Duel and Lockbird. Look at my hand. Do you guys think I would care about Duel? Definitely not. This is a hand that can actually beat Duel without even searching. I can literally search nothing and end on this and I would still win. So first action, we're going to trigger the Trito to summon. He's going to Carmel this for some reason. I guess he doesn't know it's almost per turn, but okay. So he's going to activate Vadis as well because I moved the card from his graveyard. So he's going to summon from the deck, and then he's going to double Xyz. I give him Imperm because Imperm doesn't matter. I have Pixia on my hand. And most likely I'm going to actually establish the Pixia, which means Imperm is going to be a dead card in his hand. So he's going to go double Xyz. Goes into Carmel. Okay, that's fine. And then he's going to go into Jabreen. Okay, sure. So, once again, I'm going to activate the card again. Okay, this time I'm going to summon. You're not going to stop me. And then we're going to summon Tail. This is huge baits. Big brain play. What people usually do is banish the first card they see because they think it's Mar. Mar is a card that can negate their stuff. So he goes immediately banished, so he can go into the Exosister Martha. Not Martha, the, what do you call it? Michalis. And then banish the next set that I have. This is 100% a win for me now. As soon as like he activated this effect, it's GG's. Look at this. He banishes Tail. This is complete bait. I put the weakest monster because this will never trigger. Tail does not ever trigger against this deck. Now I activate it and set the real card that I actually want, and that's Pixia. Pixia turns off Returnia, turns off his entire deck. This is a targeting negates. The Michalis targeting negates. That's a banish, I mean. So negates and double banish. Turned off by just one Pixia. Most likely what's going to happen, he's going to immediately shotgun the Michalis on whatever I set. Yep. Flip this face up, GG. Now we also get to banish a card from the hand, which could be that one hand trap that he had. Could have been Joel. Or could have been Ash. We never played into either, right? Being able to, like, this is why I love Pixia, because its effect banishes the hand traps that you could lose to. Especially if they only have one card in hand. This play right here, if he did not add, would just immediately banish his card. So this was either the Imperm that I gave him, or the hand trap that he opened up. If it was a hand trap, that is. So now I can just summon the Atel, and now he's floodgated by the Pixia, and he has no more plays. And I can full combo. You guys saw how he just broke his entire board with just one bait, one Pixia? That's all it takes sometimes. You have to know your matchup. So, yeah, this is why we don't really need board breakers, because we have cards that can just completely blow out decks entirely with just, like, one card. Like, Mar flipping face down with the negates can just shut down a lot of decks. Pixia can shut down a lot of decks. Leon, in response, spin back stuff, can just shut down a lot of stuff as well. So we are going to scale the Mar, and then we are going to pop one of these because they're big. These are all 2500, so we actually don't care about Michalis. If he attacks over any of them, it's just going to flip them face up. They're not actually going to be destroyed. So we are going to pop one of the Carmels, the one with the material, because he can just use the effect next turn. Because this doesn't have to detach to, it can detach like pretty much anything. And now we just keep the Pixia on the field, okay? Again, like, I don't see people making this play. You need to learn how to properly make this play, okay? Where you scale like one of the big monsters. Sometimes even two big monsters, if you can. In this hand, I actually couldn't scale them because I actually needed all of these on the field. But if I had like another big monster, I would scale both and pop this as well. That would be even better. So he gets the Vadis in the end phase, which is completely fine. It's not actually doing anything. Okay, let's see what he does here. So Pixia is still floodgating him. He has to go battle phase to attack over it with the Carmel. So he goes into another he goes into Macallus. This is, how many Macalluses has he run through? He's already used 2 Carmels. I think they only play 2. And then he's already used this and double Macallus. Okay. And now he's going to go into Magnifica again. Magnifica is going to get a free banish. Let's see what he banishes. He's going to go battle phase, attack over Pixia, and then he is going to attack over Trito. Perfect. Trito is going to trigger in the damage step. Pop his back row. Let's see what it was. It was a Returnia. Okay. We actually knew that. Then he is going to attack over Leon, and then attack over this. Perfect. Damage step, pop him, he can't respond. Can't trigger the Magnifica, and then this is going to destroy his Magnifica. Yep, so we basically forced him into battle phase with the Orgia Trito, and now he basically just like got his stuff destroyed. And although we have nothing now, this field is very threatening for him because, okay, he just goes here. He doesn't really have anything else he can do. He already ran through like his Vadis and like his all of these stuff, and now I don't think he has another Macallus. Let's see. But he would have to go for another Macallus on my turn, and then I can just like get back my Pixia. He has another Macallus, which is fine because he can't actually do much with this. Then he only has 2 Carmels, which means he can't get back his trap, so there's actually nothing he can do here. So yeah, that's just like easy win here. that was super easy. Let's watch this one against Sky Striker, for example. Again, the main thing is like showing you guys like how you are basically sequencing your plays and picking which cues are going to be the best for certain matchups. Like, if you are going blind, okay? Like, in this duel, for example, I don't know my opponent is on Sky Striker. What I usually like to do is counter the best decks. So I go Pixia, Atl, Tromeria. And if I can get Orgia, I would also go Orgia. If I can get Alazonia, I would also go for that. Aside from this, these are the most important ones. I think the others are just, like, optional. So you can see, like, I choose to grab the Tromeria because these are going to be spun back. These are going to be what I'm going to summon for my end phase. So we're going to set this just in case he's been saving a max C. Because he did actually have a toggle. So he's probably waiting, if he has max C, for me to actually activate this special summon. So if I normal set this, this is actually going to guaranteed add something. It's basically like the same play I was talking about before in the video. Except later on in the turn, because he could be still waiting on the max C. So now we trigger, we activate the Orgia, and then we are going to search a Rebirth. Or the Atl, but we want the Rebirth, obviously. I only play 2. And now we can spin back all of these, because I actually don't care about Mar. Mar is not really a card I want in my end board, even if I have Rebirth. In this meta at the moment, I don't think Mar is really that great, to be honest. The effect to like flip them face down, it's not really that great, because fusion decks don't care. They can still fuse with the cards face down. Against Kewl Tune, it can be good, but like the odds are opponent is on branded or like a fusion deck. So I'm going to spin back the scales, don't need them. Spin back the 2 Mars, don't need them. Get a new hand. If I draw Fisher, most likely GG. We do actually get the Fisher. And you actually get very good cards here. So we're going to summon a Atl, summon Leon, and as long as you have your main monsters, which is Atl and at least one of the small ones and Tromeria, you're good. Scale this. I actually could have kept this in hand because I have this. This can be a very good play that you can make, but I didn't really care that much because I have the Fisher. Fisher turns off Fallen the Virtuous, turns off a lot of cards. So if I didn't have Fallen the Virtuous, I would have considered more to actually keep the tail in hand. I actually did think for a bit before making this play and scaling this. Because if he summons something that can actually nuke my board, maybe like Murakumo or something, he has to go like Habakiri, summon the Saji, for example. On like Habakiri effect, I can go the Tromeria, and then Tromeria is going to be pushed into the back row, and then I can obviously like also trigger the Rebirth. Hold on. Actually, I will not be able to trigger the Rebirth just yet. What would happen is I would have to push one of them into the back row, and then when he summons, I go Rebirth to summon the tail. It can be a bit late against Murakumo, which is why it's actually not great against Murakumo here. But you can use it against things like Kewl Tune, because if they summon and then try to like pop and stuff with like the mix or whatever, you still have your tail. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Tail sucks if you guys don't know, because this right here says when your opponent activates a card that would destroy a card on the field. This does not, like, there are cards that cannot be stopped by this. Like, this does not flip face up in response to them. Let's say your opponent goes Fallen the Virtuous. Fallen the Virtuous reads, send from your extra deck to the grave, and then target a card on the field, destroy it. The main effect is destroy a card, right? It's gonna have to destroy a card. It's not optional to destroy a card. If you send from your extra deck, you have to destroy that card. Let's say, I don't know, like Raigeki. Raigeki's effect is destroy all cards your opponent controls, monsters your opponent controls. This is not optional. You have to destroy if you activate the card. So if they activate something like this, they would be destroying a card. It's not that they can destroy a card. They would be destroying that card. Okay. So then you can flip up the tail. Cards like Dracotail Pan is gonna set a card, and then it says then you can destroy a card. Because of this wording, tail cannot trigger. Cards like Murakumo. Murakumo says if this card is special summoned, you can destroy. What that means is if they activate the effects on special summon to like nuke your board, you can trigger tail. But against things like Zero, Sky Striker Zero, you cannot trigger the tail in response to Zero. Because the card just sucks. Like, this card is not really great. It's only for one turn. It has like a weird like ruling on this. And it doesn't really do too much. So this is why I think this card is like kind of ass. It doesn't really do too much. Maybe sometimes it can come up, but most of the time it's not really doing anything. So he's gonna attempt to draw. We're gonna actually trigger Alazonia, banish a card from the hand. The thing about Alazonia is it's a huge sniper. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it always snipes a very good card. So I actually like to activate it early. Look at this. Let's see what we snipe here. We're gonna chain this to push into the pendulum zone, just so we can have double flip down with reset. Because I don't know what he's playing. He could be playing Kewl Tune actually. So we can go for the play where I go Rebirth and flip these back face down. If he goes like for whatever. Banish Ash, okay. He goes Abstract Goblin. So here I'm actually convinced it's Sky Striker. And then he goes TTT Draw 2, which tells me his hand is very bad. Like, all of these plays he's making right now is giving me a lot of information, right? So now he goes Mobilize, Linkage, okay, and now he is gonna go Mystical Space Typhoon. So we're gonna flip up Pixia in response. Pixia destroys him if he doesn't have Droplet. He does have Droplet. Okay, look at this, perfect. Why did he send a spell, now monster? Because of Fisher. Fisher stops him from sending monsters. So now that he went Droplet on this, and I know he's most likely on Sky. Actually, he is on Sky Striker because he activated Engage. I know he's on Sky Strikers, which lose to Pixia. I just flip up tail. I mean the Atoll. GG. That's literally all it takes. You guys see like the value of Fisher and like the sequence of plays. And now we get to banish a card from, we actually don't banish a card from the hand, very important, because Atoll negated him, not the Pixia, because Pixia has to negate the card before it banishes. So if it doesn't negate the card, which it didn't, because this negated it, this is not going to trigger. Also, if you're wondering, like, why can't you use Reset here? Because your opponent activated the card. This negates the activation, which means the card was never actually activated for you to be able to use the Reset to flip down the Atoll again. So now, we already know what he's playing, so he goes Ray, Dome Summon. I actually choose to go Rebirth here to flip up the Tremeria, because I don't want him to tag out into 0. I want to negate him early. So then he has to go Link 1. And if he goes Link 1, what's he going to do? Kagari? Kagari can't add back because of the Pixia. So he actually attempts this play. He realizes he can't add. Then he goes Rose. We go Reset, flip down the 2. Now what? So he's going to activate the... okay, he goes SP. SP doesn't work because of Pixia. And then he realizes he can't target anything, and he just has his scoop here. Yeah. So this is basically like how you beat these decks. Against Branded, okay. Branded, again, is not really that great of a deck against Enneacraft. The good thing about Branded is like Mirror Jade's second effects. The Banish effect is also decent. And then sometimes Fallen the Virtuous if you don't have the Pixia. Aside from this, it's a free win. It's actually just a free win. Like, there's just nothing they can do. They can't fuse with your small monsters. They're all machine earth. They don't actually have any targets for this. They have to go Dogma with like Super Poly, fused with 2 of their own cards and 1 of your like small monsters. At that point, doesn't actually matter. They can fuse with like these big monsters because they're light. But they're not able to do this if you have a way to actually negate them, which is usually Tromeria. You can pop them with the Orgia. Like, there's a lot of ways to actually just stop them from doing any of these plays. And then Fissure is a free win. So if you have Fissure, again, you just win. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. You guys learned something new within like the interaction and how you actually interact with your opponent going second. Just please remember, okay, set these cards depending on like which one is good against certain matchups, okay? This Tromeria, very good against Kewl Tune. If you're going second, immediately set this for the remix, for Kewl Tune Synchro. All of these trigger the Tromeria. Always set this card. If you have multiple copies, fuck it, summon 2, okay? Let's say I have too many small monsters. I have this, and 2 of these. Summon both of them. Both of them are getting triggered. It's not once per turn. You get 2 free adds. Add Pixie, Athel, GG. Or like Mar, Athel, GG. Against Kewl Tune. Against Dracotail, same thing. This, all good cards. Okinaria is not going to be as good as against Kewl Tune because they usually save the Femina for later. But you can trigger some other stuff. Like Dracotail is going to get triggered also by the Trito. So Trito is also a decent card. Just make sure you have 2 pushes still while making like these plays. And Orgia for Ash Blossom. Or for Droll and Lockbird. Always think about the hand trap they have in hand, okay? And yeah, hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you guys learned anything new from this. Let me know what you learned from this. And I possibly will be making more videos against the meta. Maybe play till like Master 1. We're gonna see, because I'm gonna be busy in the next 3 days. I have exams, but once I'm done, like I can actually like lock in with Enneacraft. I'm actually doing very well with Enneacraft at the moment. I only lost 2 duels. One of them I misplayed really badly. I was multitasking and I just like completely fucked that duel up. I played into Retribution for no reason. I should have revealed like the weakest monster in my hand, and I wasn't paying attention. And then the other duel, I think it was against Sky Striker. And he basically, I don't actually remember what happened, but the duel was so freaking long. I misplayed at some point, that's all I remember, and I lost because of that, and that's basically why like it's super important not to misplay with this deck and just like sequence correctly. Oh yeah, I forgot the release, that's what it was. I forgot to search release, which means I couldn't get Pixia back, and he had like Fallen Virtuous to pop me, and because I didn't have Pixia, I lost because of that. So again, always remember release. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys benefited from this video. If you guys want like more tutorial videos on like I guess going first or like more interactions and stuff, I can do that. I'm probably not gonna make a new guide on like how to play the deck because I already have one, and it's already like it covers a lot of the stuff I'm talking about at the moment anyway. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.